Good afternoon. Welcome back here at ESCMID TV, brought live to you from the back of the exhibition hall here in the Bella Center in Copenhagen, Denmark. My name is Judith Cohen, and I am still your ESCMID TV host. And I'm very happy that I get to introduce to you another two members of the Executive Committee of ESCMID. So on our far left, we have Professor Robert Skov, who is the President-elect and Secretary-General for ESCMID, and also so much more, of course, but from Copenhagen, Denmark. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you very much.
And besides you seated, we have Professor Emmanuelle Cambau from Paris, France, yes. And you serve as the Education Officer for the Executive Committee in ESCMID. So thank you both for coming here. A very warm welcome to you both. This morning we already showed our TV viewers a little bit about a few roles of the Executive Committee when we had as our guests the Publication, Communication and Guideline Officer and the Professional Affairs Officer. Emmanuelle, could I invite you to tell us a little bit about your role as Education Officer? Which kind of education are you is part of your portfolio?
Yeah, that's very interesting part of ESCMID because education was now put first in the new ESCMID strategy.
Yeah.
And because we are involving so many people from so many different countries, and also, as you know, 1/3 of the members, they are young, they are trainees.
Yeah.
And so education is so important that we are still thinking and rethinking and trying to shape new models, because, you know, the model has changed because of the pandemic, and also the young trainees, they might think a little bit differently than we thought in the past. So it's really active domain, active topic.
So the strategy of the new presidency for ESCMID, which is focusing more on education, that really has an effect for your portfolio. And I can imagine that you also have a lot of overlap or collaboration with Anu, who is, of course, the Professional Affairs Officer with the TAE under her umbrella.
Yeah, this is what was really good is that in the first 4 years of my term in the Executive Committee of ESCMID, I was the Professional Affairs Officer. So now I'm seeing the whole picture.
Yeah.
And of course we are well acquainted with Anu, and so we can discuss together and see how it could be better this way or better the other way, and that's very important.
And do you already have new plans for the educational programs under ESCMID?
Yes, we have. Maybe we will not give the details now, but what we wanted to expand is education activities. Of course, for that, we will need to expand the education subcommittee, because, we are working on a volunteer basis, and so we need to be more professionals to work with. Of course, the usual, I would say, on-site courses where you meet people, but also the online courses and all these things we have to develop. So we need new skills, and of course the young, they could have this type of skills some others may not have.
Yeah. So busy. A lot of activities are lying ahead. Robert, you are the President-elect, which means you will come to term as President when exactly?
At the end of next year's ECCMID.
The end of next year's ECCMID is your reinstallment or your installment as President. Yeah. And your other role now is the Secretary General. Yeah. As I understood from two other of your Executive Committee board members, you all, of course, work together to strategize the future of ESCMID and all its subcommittees. besides from most of them, most of you having a very own portfolio, such as the educational officer has the education as portfolio, what does the Secretary General do?
Yeah. So one of my tasks is to take care of our office. So we have a staff placed in Basel, where we have our headquarters, and I'm the liaison, you can say, between the office and the EC. So that is one of the big tasks that I'm having. The second one is really to be a support role for our president Annelies, and be part of, you can call it a trio, where we had the past president, Maurizio Sanguinetti, Annelies Zinkernagel, who is our president, and myself, in order to have the continuity of the society. We always really are aligned together, the past, the present, and the future president, in order to really ensure that this here really rolls in a efficient manner. So a lot of my other work is to meet with other partners, affiliated societies. For this one, for ECCMID here, we are listening into the industrial partners that we are having, and so really a connection piece of other partners that we have in ESCMID.
Wow, it sounds like a busy job. It is.
It takes a couple of hours.
Well, it's great that you how you explain that the three of you, the immediate past, the current president, and the president-elect work together. I think that probably really guarantees that there's continuity also, and probably that if you would change strategy after 2024. That will probably be forthcoming from the current strategy and vision.
Yeah, as Emmanuelle is saying, and as we presented at the opening, we are now launching a strategic, you can call it refinement. It's not really, we still do what we do. We are still having all our activities in the community, both of infectious disease and clinical microbiology. Both in Europe, but also looking more and more worldwide. But on top of this, we have said that there is 3 areas where we really would like to put an extra effort. One is the educational portfolio. One is on AMR in general, because this is really binding all of us together. As you know, we think we have just left one, or we have, or in the aftermath of one pandemic. But we are actually, and has been for a couple of years, in the middle of a second pandemic, which is the AMR pandemic. So it's really important that we as the professional society here are taking an active stand in this. And the third focus area is on emerging infections. And I think we learned from COVID that you need to be prepared before the hammer hits. And this is why we really would like to have emerging infections higher on our agenda. And emerging infections coming all the time, like Mpox, the new Marburg cases. So it is really to set to make a better structure within ESCMID in order to be able to rapid response from our professional people to such kind of emergencies.
So you want to put the preparedness onto the agenda, and you also mentioned a little bit about the silent pandemic, the AMR. And do you feel that this year's ECCMID has really put that already on the agenda enough? There was, of course, the big global leaders group ESCMID meeting on AMR, in which you, I believe, was a panelist also. So is it enough awareness, or do we need to step up even further?
So let me answer this in two two ways. I think if you look at the content on ESCMID here, we have a very strong scientific focus on, not on AMR directly, you can say, but all the aspects of AMR, because the resistance throughout both viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites is really filling in all the different aspects of what we are doing. Yeah. But what was obviously very important this year was that we as a society also took a stand on the more policy-based and try really to be part of the discussion and to bring the scientists of our society more closely together with the policymakers in order to have a better informed, as was said on Friday by several of the panelists from the Global Leaders Group of AMR, is that science is actually the backbone on any interventions that we want to do against AMR. And there is really a need for that to be communicated directly between scientists and policymakers, because otherwise you end up speaking two different languages. Yeah. And we need to create this common language for all of us. So I think this meeting on Friday was a very important step in forging this partnership.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And Emmanuelle, I understood that all the executive committee members also have approximately 3 symposia that they have to chair or speak at. I believe you are about to leave for your one of your contributions to the scientific program this year. You'll be speaking in the in the future of
I will speak about education. So
you'll be speaking about education.
My portfolio.
Yeah, but with regard to the future
it's not the
easiest
education thing, because in the other meeting I was speaking about, I would say, my job, working as a clinical microbiologist and working with UCAST on mycobacterial susceptibility testing. But here I would need to talk about the education from the ESCMID point of view.
But you're an expert at that as well.
This is very important, but that's not as easy.
Yeah. No, it's difficult. Yeah. And is that because we need to focus more on education, about communication, about the science? Is that, I mean, it is a spear point for the society, right?
Yeah, and in the education, there are at least 2 persons, the teacher, the one listening, and who wants to get the knowledge, but there is not only the knowledge, but the skills, the behavior, all this confidence. We need to translate to the young people or even to colleagues. And it's not the easiest part. That's very nice, but it's not the easiest part.
It's a heavy portfolio you carry.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I should say that Robert had this portfolio in the previous year.
You were the education officer.
So we can discuss together and adjust the.
Do you recognize what Emmanuelle is saying?
Absolutely. Education is a continuous, but I also think that it's increasingly important to professionalize it, not only by the scientific content, but also all the time develop the teaching methods, how you do these things. And this is one of the things we really in ESCMID would like to be more professional in doing. Yeah. And one of the things we are working hard to establish is our E-Academy. So we have, but you can tell more about this.
No, please.
But what we want to...
You invent it, so you create that.
Okay.
So
you're the best.
So what we have... Traditionally, we have had our postgraduate courses, our summer school, but here we actually have created a new entity where we would like to use the digital media to use more for communication, not only for education, not only for single courses, but also for multiple
course programs.
Actually programs considering of multiple modules. So this is one of the things, and therefore there is and making interesting online education is a completely new, almost science for us. So we're working hard to get the grasp of this.
Yeah, well, you'll probably succeed, but I can understand it can be quite daunting to set up such a new thing. I'd like to thank you both for taking the time, for giving our viewers a better insight in what's behind these roles of the Executive Committee in ESCMID. There's a lot going on that many members and non-members will not be that aware of, and I think it's excellent for everyone to hear what plans you're making, the strategy and the vision, and how to go ahead as a society. So thank you so much for your time, and I wish you the very best of the rest of your ECCMID.
Thank
you very much.
And for our viewers, thank you for watching. Do you want to hear more about education within ESCMID? Professor Emmanuelle Cambau will be speaking just in a bit at 1:30 in Hall N on this topic. We will be taking another short break, and we will be back at the clock of 2 when we invite Professor Carlos Del Rio to our studio, who is the director of the IDSA and is also going to be involved in a keynote scientific interview on the strengthening of societies together. So please join us then, and then we can get to pick his brain about what's going to be discussed there. See you at 2 o'clock.